Hello everybody, this is Chris Bird or Monkey Dude 1313, and this is a master set of all of XY base from almost 12 years ago. I'm really excited to jump into this, but I just want to quickly mention that last week's master set Monday was the Sword Shield era Shining Fates, which included a ton of shiny Pokemon, and I extended that video out an extra 30 minutes to make sure I included basically every shiny Pokemon card in existence from Neo Destiny all the way up until now. So, you won't want to miss it. Definitely go check that one out. It's a great video. In this video, not only are we going through the master set of XY base, but since this was the set to first feature Mega Pokemon at all, I've pulled out some other Mega Pokemon, specifically the starters from Gen 1. This set featured Mega Venusaur and Mega Blastoise only, because the set after it, XY Flashfire, heavily featured Mega Charizard. And so I thought I'd pull out the Blastoises and Venusaurs, give some love there, but then also show the Charizards that are similar so that we can have a good time with it. And on top of that, I pulled out some of the modern Megas, including some really neat promos that we can take a look at, and I have a cameo also from Evolutions. Not just this slabbed card, but the entire Evolutions Master Set, which we'll take a look at as well. So, without further ado, let us jump right into this video. Okay, so like I mentioned, XY base, 12 years old almost. This set was a fantastic set. I did a great job at introing people into Megas and into the XY generation as a whole. It was the first set to have fairy types ever, and lots of great art. However, this set is often overshadowed by other sets, and as you'll see, sometimes for obvious reasons. This set is about as classic and beginning of a new season as possible. So, let's get into it. First up, of course, as I mentioned, Venusaur and Mega Venusaur. So this art may look familiar to you, because this art for Mega Venusaur was used many, many times on many different cards. And so, don't be too surprised if you have this exact same art, just on a card from a different set. But we will get into that in a little bit. Also, since we are going into Venusaur, I thought we could look at some of the more recent Mega Venusaurs that have come out. This is the SIR from the recent Mega Evolutions Master Set. This set is amazing. Now instead of just putting M like they do in the other ones, they put the full word Mega, but this is the SIR. Then we have the full art, which features Mega Venusaur and normal Venusaur down here. I really like the two-tone look that they did, where it's like foreground and background. And then, of course, we have the half art of Mega Venusaur. And if we compare the half arts together, you can make your judgment on which one you like best. Although, as our favorite frog-hopping boy, you can only get so many poses out of a Venusaur. So, to complement this one, I was originally going into our XY promo binder to pull out Mega Venusaur and Mega Blastoise. However, they didn't get any promos of the Mega Venusaur and Mega Blastoise, so I pulled out this one instead. This is just standard Venusaur, but I absolutely love the art on this promo. And of course, to go with it, since this set also features Blastoise, I pulled out the promo Blastoise as well. This one features Gyarados, Vaporeon, and just overall looks incredible. So, a very fun pair to have, and there are so many Venusaurs to enjoy. But let us continue on. Got a bunch of grasses here. This is an obnoxious, well, not obnoxious. This is an unusually large set for XY. The base set itself had 146 cards, which sounds tiny compared to most modern sets, but this was fairly large for the time. So, let us begin flipping through. It, of course, features the XY era starters with Delphox and Chestnut, and we will get to the water starter here shortly. And then Mega Blastoise is the other one. So, first up, I'll pull out the Mega Blastoise. Beautiful card. Absolutely lovely. Yet again, this card got reprinted multiple times in terms of the art, at least. And this is probably a very well-known Mega to a lot of you guys. Alright. I thought it would be fun to bring a little attention to this Blastoise, though, because there's some really nifty fun facts about this guy. So, without giving you any other context, I'm going to take this Blastoise here and move it back and forth so you can see the hollow pattern on it. See how the lines on this hollow pattern are vertical and they move back and forth as I rotate like this. There are actually 3 different printings of this exact same card using 3 different hollow patterns. And I've been on the hunt for them, but I don't want to just go buy them online, so I kind of look for them at card shows as I go. But the original from XY Base has these vertical hollow lines on it. Then there's another version that got printed in a tin that has the diagonal hollow lines on it as well, but otherwise, exact same card. And the third variant actually was a reprint version of those tins where they used the Sun Moon era hollow pattern, which is all of like the webby Aurora Borealis type hollow pattern on this exact same card. So if you have any of these, go check them out. You may have one of those two special variants, although they're worth the exact same, especially since almost no one knows they exist. Bonus fourth print of this is it happened to be in XY Evolutions. And so it actually got a reprint with a gold border, but otherwise similar card. Speaking of XY Evolutions, let us dive into the master set of XY Evolutions. So, in Evolutions here, let me arrange it on camera nicely. You can see, voila, the exact same Venusaur and Mega Venusaur, except with a golden border. Very cool. They did the thin text because this is Evolutions, and Evolutions was trying to be a callback set to Base 1. Very neat. Very neat Mega Venusaur EX there. And if we flip a few pages ahead, the exact same Blastoise I was just talking about with a gold border, and then Mega Blastoise EX here. So they definitely got reprints in this set. And if we jump all the way to the back into the shiny stuff for this set, we can open that up here, and we can see Mega Venusaur got his full art version. Fun fact, this was a promo in Japan. Full art Mega Venusaur from Evolutions. And then the counterpart from XY is the full art Mega Blastoise EX. Beautiful cards. Alright, but you may have been wondering why on both this page and back on the Blastoise page, why there's a blank here for the Charizard spot. Well, it wouldn't be a Monkey Dude 1313 video without a lovely trip into the Charizard binder. So, let's put Evolutions to the side, and let's jump into Charizard. First of all, I have a friend, I won't dox him, but I have a friend who gifted me this PSA 10 copy of the Evolutions Charizard many years ago, 6 or 7 years ago at the very least. And I wasn't into collecting graded cards, and I'm still not really, but I've held on to this because not only is it a gift, you don't just get rid of gifts, you know, unless they're socks, but also it has been kind of a really neat to actually own a graded card until recently when we started getting some of our own. So, absolutely love to have this. This is the Mega Charizard from Evolutions, and so that's why I thought to bring it out. Alright, so in the XY base, we have Mega Blastoise and Mega Venusaur featured. I thought, let's also go in and look and see what the equivalent Charizards were from Flashfire. So sorry for the glare. Filming binders is not easy. So here is what the page looks like, and I will actually just pick it up so you guys can see better. Charizard EX from Flashfire, another Charizard EX from Flashfire. This one is more similar to the XY base versions of Venusaur and Blastoise. Then we have Mega Charizard EXY from Flashfire, and Mega Charizard EXX from Charizard. And then, of course, we have the full art Charizard from Flashfire. We have the secret rare version of Mega Charizard EXY. And then we also have the secret rare version of Mega Charizard EXX. Very cool. So those ones are the equivalent to the Blastoise and Venusaur I was just pulling out for you guys. And then, of course, if we skip over some of these other XY era stuff, we get into Evolutions. And actually, I skipped over this one is Evolutions here. Then we have Evolutions Reverse. We have Evolutions Stamped and Staff Stamped, which are obnoxiously expensive. But then we have the Evolutions Charizard, Mega Charizard Y, Mega Charizard Y EX Full Art. And then we're into the Sun Moon era with Burning Shadows. So, there's a little bit of a history of all the Charizards that were available at the time, or near the time, of this set's release. I thought it would be fun to get into that a little bit before we got too deep into XY base. So, I'll flip back to where we were. And here we go. So, this set didn't just feature Megas. I've spent a lot of time on it, but really it only featured 2 Megas. And as the first set featuring Megas, that makes sense. You want to kind of ease the players into the idea of Megas. But we have Pokemon like Emolga, which I thought was very, very cool to feature a Pokemon that otherwise wouldn't be all that sought after. So we'll take a quick look. You know, of course, it's the Pikachu clone for the game, and so maybe they thought it was going to get a lot of traction that way. And a lot of people do like it, especially if you look at Black White Legendary Treasures, which we've done a Wishlist Wednesday on a week or two ago. So if you want to check that out, you can with the Radiant Collection Emolga. But I digress. Let's keep on going. Alrighty, Yveltal. This era, XY, was the introduction of Yveltal and Xerneas, and so this set got a full art version of both. I'm very excited to show you guys those. And it was also the first set to feature Fairy type. As you guys may know, XY, the game, was the first set to introduce Fairy type. It retroactively changed a bunch of Pokemon, like Jigglypuff and Clefairy, back to Fairy type, where before they were just normal type. You know, which makes some amount of sense. You know, it made some Gen 1ers angry, but, you know, what can you do? But then, you also get brand new Fairy type Pokemon made specifically with that in mind. So Spritzy Aromatisse and Swirlix Slurpuff were kind of the early game fairy specific Pokemon. And then of course the legendary Xerneas, which is fairy type, the giver of all life. Fun! When you print a Pokemon like this directly after making the god of literally everything, it's hard for this guy to feel too impressive. But don't worry about it. God of Life, Princess Mononoke. It's good. Alright, so as we get in here, we're going to the trainers next. And one final flip until we get to almost the grand reveal. Since it's a base set and it has its own numbered energies, I'll pull out the grass, I can't decide, but it has its own set numbered energies that are part of the set. So of course we have to collect them for a master set. And finally, our grand reveal of the 6 full arts from the set. Fun! This was well before they started adding all of those crazy secret rares and stuff. And you may say, well, back in Black and White, they had the full arts, but they also had 2 or 3 like golden imprinted secret rares. They kind of did away with it for this set. And for, well, until Flashfire, they didn't have the secret rares in this set. But let's pull each one of these out one at a time and see how it goes. This Venusaur EX full art is absolutely beautiful. These XY era full arts have fantastic texture on them, fantastic deep and saturated colors, and the gold borders on the Pokemon is just fantastic. So I can't stop gushing about these style of full arts. Similarly, we have the Blastoise EX here, one of the more expensive cards in the set, and that is another beautiful card. I love the texture up here in the background, where it kind of feels like it's exploding out, but then also the circles there in the cannon, which really help give it some amount of depth. But absolutely love that card. And so these two and the Charizard I showed you earlier all go together as the starters. Coming on back to the Emolga. Pikachu clone from Gen 6. Give it a full art in the base set. Absolutely love it. Since Emolga doesn't get a lot of love outside of this and Legendary Treasures, I thought it was very cool that he got a full art and a lot of attention here. Nice. Plus, Emolga is usually shown as cute. This one is shown as angry. Perfect. Alright, if we have the god that gives all life, we must also have the god that either takes all life or that gives all death, depending on how you want to look at it. But the Yveltal card is similarly fabulous. Fantastic texturing on it. And fantastic condition, of course, because we opened these ourselves. Love it, love it, love it. Oof, love that card. Alright, then I'll skip Skarmory real quick so that I can get to Xerneas, the counterpart to Yveltal, and I can use this card to show a little bit of a printing issue that this set had. So if we look there in the text box, you might notice that the white around the letters are not very clear white. It's actually got some black dots speckled in there with it. And especially noticeable here on the A in Breakthrough. But, you know, that's how it goes. That is how it goes. Sometimes you have some printing issues, and then when you buy the earliest boxes from the set, you get to manifest with some of those. And finally on the full arts, Skarmory. Recently, we got Mega Skarmory in the new Legends ZA, but at this point, Mega Skarmory did not exist. Maybe it was on someone at Pokemon's desk at some point of possible future Megas, but at this point, it was purely just for the fun of it, and not exactly sure why they featured Skarmory in this set when they could have featured another Pokemon from XY. But I love it. Skarmory is fantastic, and yeah. The first Skarmory card that my girlfriend owned was named Panzerion because it was in a different language. And so we will often call Skarmory Panzerion just for that reason. Similar to how we call Murkrow Kramerks. Fun. There's some fun facts for you. Okay, quick aside. Since I said this is the first set with fairy Pokemon, it also had to be the first set with fairy energies. And so this is what the very first energy of all time looks like. Fun fact. The secret rare fairy energy from Sun and Moon Burning Shadows was the last card we needed to finish all of the Sun Moon era. And we picked it up recently. So actually we now have a master set of every Sun Moon era set. Nice. Okay, so why are these two back here? If they're clearly not secret rares, they're just normal holos, so why are these here? First, I will pull out Vivillon, and I'll have you take a look. I'm not going to give you much context yet, but I'll let you take a look. And then we can go all the way back to the grass section. Make sure I flip to the correct page. And we have this Vivillon here from the set. All right, so as you can tell, the differences is very obvious now. This one from the back of the set has orange wings. This one from the normal set has pink wings. So Vivillon has regional variants in the game. So a Vivillon caught from a person playing in Russia will have a different wing coloration than a Vivillon caught from someone in the United States. But there is also a base color of Vivillon. And so we have base color Vivillon here, which is the pink wings, as you can see, and that's why we have put it into the main set here. But then we also have the Great Plains version, which is the United States version, and that is what we have here with the orange wings. So you could pull them both out of English booster packs, and if you were opening XY base packs from another language, you pulled that region's shiny color along with the pink. So a few of the Vivillon colors actually are obnoxiously expensive because they were short printed in certain languages that were very unpopular at the time. And so if I recall, I think Russia's Vivillon card is like crazy expensive. I don't remember exactly which nationality, but I'm pretty sure that is what it is. Either way, love it, love it. So that's why we have a special Vivillon there. And while we're here on this page, let me pull out this Furfrou so we can talk about that. And let me go and throw this Vivillon back in there. Also, when we get to the reverse section, let's fact check, make sure I got the reverse of both as well. All right, so this Furfrou at the end of the set, why is it here? Well, this is actually a deck exclusive Furfrou, and as you can tell by the Cosmos Holo pattern. And it is our least favorite Furfrou copy because it is absolutely mangled. There is a ton of scratches. There's a bunch of damage to it. This card is beat up. But, of course, since it's deck exclusive, we're not getting rid of it. We're not trading it away. We're keeping it. But this is the original deck one. The original set one. And so you can see that it has the normal set holo pattern there. And this one is in way better condition than the other one. So, let's throw that in the back there. And now, as I always say, it's not a master set without the reverses. So let's quickly get through those, and we can fact check the Vivillon. All right. Absolutely lovely reverses from this. This is also the part of the video where I remind everyone to enjoy your bulk. Since there are no EXs or full arts or anything fancy in the reverses section, it's just the basic art cards. You really get to see all of the fantastic art without having your eyes taken away to all the shiny stuff. For example, look at this Macargo. That face, man. That face. He knows what he did. He knows exactly what he did, and his parents would not approve. All right, we'll move on. Pikachu, as always. Raichu is lovely. We got some kind of 3D modeling art for Froakie, Frogadier, and Greninja here. Quite like that. Keep a lookout. This Forest Cursed Trevenant was a giant pain at the time. So that's fun. Item lock is no joke in the TCG. We got some other great cards here. And as we get towards the end, let us fact check the Vivillons. All right, Cassius. No one remembers Cassius. I'll put money on that. Boom. We have the orange, the Great Plains America version Vivillon here. And let me go back to the grass section, where we also have the pink, generic, non-region specific reverse Vivillon. So we truly got all of the copies of those. Usually the set would be done here, because we got to the last reverse. However, we're not done here, because before the XY base set came out was the Kalos Starter Set. We originally were not going to collect the Kalos Starter Set. Didn't really care that much. It's not really a main set. It's 30 cards that all kind of came lumped together back before XY was released, but to try and drum up hype. But, you know, as we were going through card shows and bulk boxes, we found someone with like 10 of the Kalos Starter Set cards and thought, well, all right, it's got a unique set symbol and a unique numbering system, so I guess we're going to collect those all as well. So here is our very, very partially completed Kalos Starter Set, which I count as separate from the XY base. Featuring the starters, Delphox, Chestnut, and Greninja when we eventually get that, and some other cards here. As you can see, some of these cards were released as full holos, even though they were just standard base cards, and other ones were not. So are we going to bother collecting the entire Kalos Starter Set in all holo? Are we going to do all the non-holos? Are we going to do both? Well, we're completionists, and when we decide to start a set, we're not going to finish it until we're done with it, so we are going to eventually collect all Kalos Starter Set cards that have different variants. Fun! Alright, so that is XY Base. Master Set with all the glorious full arts, the fun Vivillons, and the megas that keep people excited even to this day and into the Legends ZA land. So, thank you guys for watching. If you have another set you'd like me to feature in a Master Set Monday or a Wishlist Wednesday, let me know. Put it in the comments. I have a pinned comment down there if you want to answer it. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Bye.